Do you think you need your own production and a huge budget to build a real brand? You actually don't. A lot of well-known companies started by reselling ready-made products. Today, I'll tell you about 5 brands that started as simple dropshipping ventures and made it big. Let's roll. Gymshark today has big stores, famous influencers, and a serious fitness vibe. It's easy to imagine millions in funding and a big corporate team behind it from day one, but it all started in a garage. It began in 2012 with 2 friends, Ben Francis and Lewis Morgan, who were 19 and 20 at the time. One was delivering pizzas, both were studying, neither had money or any breakthrough product idea. What they did have in common was a passion for lifting and big ambitions. They started Gymshark as a small online store, dropshipping mostly bodybuilding supplements. No inventory piled up in their bedrooms, no production lines. Customers ordered on the website, suppliers shipped the products. That was it. But over time, Ben and Lewis noticed something. The clothes everyone wore at the gym looked dull, boxy, old school, nothing that matched the new and rising aesthetic gym culture. So Ben decided to take a risk. He bought a sewing machine, a screen printer, and learned to sew. He spent long nights in his parents' garage making tiny batches of clothes by hand. It wasn't an instant hit. They had to tweak designs, figure out sizing, and convince people to trust a new brand. But they pushed their clothes anywhere they could, on their own socials, on the Gymshark site, at events, basically through every channel they could think of without pouring millions into ads. Then came the turning point, their first influencer collaborations. They started sending gear to popular fitness creators, got them to wear and promote the clothes, and those early shoutouts began to snowball. Sales climbed. The logo became recognizable. Today, Gymshark is valued at over $1 billion, sponsors top athletes, and opens big flagship stores. But in the beginning, it was just 2 guys, a dropshipping store, and a sewing machine in a cold UK garage. Dollar Shave Club. When they showed up, it felt like they'd reinvented shaving. Subscription boxes, clever branding, very funny ads. You'd land on their site, watch the video, and it almost felt like a tech startup, but for razors. Premium, modern, a little rebellious. Everyone wanted to be a part of it. But the product itself was not some secret invention. In the early days, they were simply buying solid but generic razors from a Korean manufacturer and selling them under their own brand. No in-house factory, no unique blade patent, just good quality blades from an existing supplier. They took a boring, everyday product that nobody ever got excited about and showed it in a completely new light. The promise was simple: good razors at a fair price delivered to your door without all the nonsense and marketing fluff of the big legacy brands. Their first viral video couldn't have been simpler. A warehouse, a couple of actors, some simple props, and a bold, funny script.
Founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great.
That absurd ad made people laugh and think, yeah, why am I paying so much for razors? The video exploded, the site struggled under all the traffic, and suddenly everyone knew who Dollar Shave Club was. The positioning worked, the story stuck, and a few years later, a global giant, Unilever, bought the company for about $1 billion in cash. A nice sum of money for someone who sells ready-made blades. Now, let's talk about watches, MVMT or movement. Does that ring a bell? In 2013, 2 college dropouts, Jake Kassan and Kramer LaPlante, looked at the watch market and saw something that annoyed them: A lot of watches were standard mechanisms dressed up in nice cases with absolutely wild price tags. So they thought, what if you sold stylish watches that looked expensive but didn't cost a small fortune? And what if you skipped the traditional retail route and sold them directly online? So they contacted a few manufacturers, designed minimalist pieces that looked premium enough, and focused hard on getting the price point just right. For their launch, they turned to crowdfunding. That was their first big test. If people liked the great design at a fair price idea, they'd pre-order, and people did. Crowdfunding gave them momentum, cash flow, and proof that they were right. Customers didn't just wear the watches, they showed them off. Photos on Instagram, pins on Pinterest, tags, and recommendations to friends. In other words, free user-generated content, and not because the owners asked for it, but because people truly liked how the watches looked and felt. Bit by bit, the movement brand grew. It became a household name among the watch crowd. It looks premium, but doesn't destroy your bank account, and it's perfect as a gift idea. Later, a major watch group, Movado, bought Movement in a deal worth over $100 million. All this thanks to the founders, who understood what their audience was tired of, presented an old product in a fresh way, and used e-commerce and content to reach them. Today, CASETiFY feels like a fashion tech brand. Collaborations with famous artists, themed drops, physical stores in major cities like New York and Hong Kong, and long lines for limited designs. But the origin story started under another name, CASETigram. The idea behind CASETigram was clever and surprisingly simple for its time. You logged in with your Instagram account, picked your favorite photos, arranged them in a grid, and they printed that collage onto a phone case and shipped it to you. The physical product wasn't groundbreaking. The magic lived in the digital layer. Your pictures, your style, your memories. People were buying a piece of their own identity they could then carry around. At first, no one knew if people would really bother uploading and arranging photos. It was a bit of a gamble. Would users use their phones as a canvas for self-expression? The bet paid off. Orders grew. People shared their custom cases online. Friends asked, "Where do you get that?" And slowly a brand started to form. Over time, the company rebranded to CASETiFY, moved beyond personal photo grids, and leaned into collaborations, artist editions, and themed collections. They turned standard cases into a kind of fashion accessory and grew into a full tech accessory brand with a global audience. Again, the pattern is familiar. They didn't have their own product line, at first just using a simple print-on-demand scheme. But proper marketing allowed their brand to grow. If you've ever owned a power bank or fast charger, there's a good chance you've seen that logo. Anker is now a big name in consumer electronics, chargers, cables, speakers, even projectors. But for founder Stephen Yang, the beginning was not some casual side hustle. He was working at Google in a well-paid position. Walking away from that wasn't a small decision. And when the idea of his own business appeared, he talked to his mom, who knew that feeling all too well. She had once left a safe job at a state-owned company to build her own pharmaceutical business from scratch. With that in mind, Stephen took his savings and decided to solve a well-known problem: the lack of inexpensive, high-quality laptop batteries and chargers. He found a reliable Chinese supplier, worked on a new product line, and started selling the accessories online, mainly through Amazon. Time did its thing. Word spread that Anker stuff just works. From there, they expanded. Phone chargers, power banks, cables, then wider and wider into consumer electronics. The key is that in the beginning, Amazon was their main stage. They focused on finding solid products, improving them where they could, and earning trust. That approach, focused on quality, carried them really far. Right now, Anker has a market cap or net worth of over $8.73 billion. All right, those were big brands. Let's end with someone closer to the average beginner. Meet Janaya. She runs a modern lifestyle brand built around things people actually use at home. Practical, good-looking products that make everyday life a bit easier. Today, her stores bring in a solid monthly profit and give her far more freedom than any regular office job ever did. But she didn't start out confident and organized. In the beginning, she did what most people do. She bounced between platforms, tried Shopify, tested Wix and a couple of other builders, watched a ton of tutorials, installed and removed apps, followed expert advice that sometimes helped, sometimes made everything more complicated. Eventually, she realized she needed a simpler foundation and chose Sellvia as her platform. From there, the progress was on her. She learned marketing, learned to read her stats instead of guessing, experimented with ads, and importantly, stayed in touch with Sellvia's growth managers to adjust her strategy when things got stuck. Step by step, that turned into more stores, consistent profit, and a real sense of financial independence. No overnight miracle, just the same pattern we've seen all along. Use existing products, build a system around them, and get very good at understanding and serving your customers. Right now, she's passed $5,000 in monthly revenue and continues to grow. And the path she took is repeatable. There's nothing in her story that's reserved for special people. If you put all these stories side by side, the message is pretty simple. None of these brands started with their own massive factory or some life-changing product. They started by taking products that already existed, using the platforms and tools they had, and learning what their customers actually wanted. Only later, once the money and experience were there, did they move into their own lines and custom production. You can do the same on a smaller scale. You don't need the perfect product or a huge budget to take that first step. You can start today with a ready-made Sellvia store and catalog and build your story from there. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and see you next time.